Okay, as you see, the recorder cut off again, and I had to start up again. Excuse me, I'm sleepy, y'all. I'm at my dialysis treatment, and kind of sleepy. But this is the only time I'm really gonna have to make this video, so here it is. I want to talk about the Keith Thurman Manny Pacquiao fight. What I saw Saturday, what I saw was pretty much almost a resurrection from the dead of Manny Pacquiao. Keith Thurman may not be the fighter now that he was when he defeated Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, when he defeated Sean Porter. But he's out 2 years. He said because of injured hands. A lot of people think he was trying to duck Errol Spence Jr. But why would you duck Errol Spence Jr. even if you know you can get your ass beat for millions of dollars? There's no ass beating I would not take for millions of dollars. I mean, especially being a guy like a professional like Keith Thurman. I see. Yeah, he was doing some ducking. He had ducked Errol Spence before that, but I think that he also had some injuries. I think it was a combination of the two. I thought that he was going to defeat Pacquiao because if Pacquiao couldn't even defeat, what's that guy from Australia? Beat Pacquiao. And then later on, Crawford came and just devastated, beat the guy up pretty much. Now the guy is game and he can fight, so nobody's just gonna knock him all around. He comes to fight. And I thought that Pacquiao edged that fight out. Horn, his name, guy named Horn. I thought that Pacquiao edged that fight out, but the fact that it was so close that Horn could be given the decision against Pacquiao. I didn't think if he was fighting the Keith Thurman that I spoke of, who beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, I don't see there's no kind of way that Pacquiao, who fought Horn at 40 years old, could beat that Thurman, the Thurman of the past I spoke of. Though Thurman came to fight and he gave a good fight. And he seemed like he didn't seem like the fighter that Jose Zito Lopez almost knocked out in this return match. Keith Thurman to me didn't look too bad. I mean, he didn't exactly like the Keith Thurman in the past, but he looked better than the Keith Thurman who fought Jose Zito Lopez. But I think the difference was the fact that when he tried to slug it out with Pacquiao, he was playing his game. Pacquiao put those angles on him like he probably never seen a fighter do that, quite like that. Even his training, I doubt that he had sparring with people who can cut those angles quite like Pacquiao could. But I'm gonna tell you something, folks. There's a possibility that Pacquiao was juiced to the gills. because they're steroids. That's not only for power and strength, but also for performance enhancing, like they call it, performance enhancing drugs. There are things you can take and make you faster. There are things you can take can make you that give you more energy. Even though Pacquiao did tire out towards the latter part of the fight, even if he was on steroids, being a 40-year-old man, this could happen. I'm not saying he was. I'm saying there's a possibility. There's a possibility Keith was too, because he didn't insist on drug testing. But I think that perhaps Keith didn't insist on any drug testing because he felt that he could defeat Pacquiao, even if Pacquiao was steroided up, being a 40-year-old man. And Keith being 30 years old and in his prime, I'm sure he felt that he could defeat Pacquiao regardless. Is Keith Thurman through? No. I still see some good fights for him. I see a rematch with Pacquiao. But I think if Pacquiao, what he wants to do is get Floyd back in there for a second fight. But if he can't, then that fight, a second fight with Thurman is open. But Thurman is going to have to fight somebody in between and prove himself worthy of stepping in with Pacquiao. Because I'm going to tell you, I think Thurman will have to wait till Pacquiao turns 45 before he should step in there thinking he can win again. And I don't see Thurman as being the fighter he was. I think Thurman should fight somebody like Mikey Garcia. That's about his speed now. Or Adrian Braun or AB. Somebody like that. Or even go down and fight the guy that Danny Garcia just exterminated, Adrian, I forgot, whatever his name is. See how he does against that guy. Maybe give Josecito Lopez a part 2. See if he corrected his mistakes. Or if he's anything like Keith Thurman we used to know. Should not jump in there with Errol Spence. He's going to get obliterated. But he's not in contention right now for Errol Spence. Anyway, he doesn't have a belt anymore. And I think Errol Spence is only fighting guys with a belt and highly ranked in the welterweight division. The blood pressure machine is taking my blood pressure, so I got to put my arm straight down. So all you're going to hear now is my voice. Talk about some other fights we saw. Efe Ajagba took on another guy who was in the Olympics. I don't know if they were in the Olympics at the same time, but it was a Eastern European guy, shorter, about 6'2" or something like that, 6'3", kind of pudgy. What's going on now? I would think that a guy from Eastern Europe, that he wouldn't let himself get that pudgy. Because I've heard they're notorious supposedly for their discipline. And the trainers out of that part of the world are supposedly some of the most strict and some of the hardest charging, hardest pressing. This guy gets in the ring. I'm going to stop talking about guys fat in the ring, because look at Andy Ruiz, who I've been watching Andy Ruiz for a while, I've been watching Andy Ruiz before AJ was even known. This guy could always fight. And I wondered what happened to Andy. Why did he disappear after he lost to Joseph Parker? I thought Andy should get a second shot at the title, and he did, and you see what he did with it. I have a video I put up where everybody was so sure AJ was just gonna dominate Andy. I said, "Oh, hold the phone, buddy. This is gonna be much harder for AJ than people think. Andy can fight." And I had a feeling in my gut that there might be an upset. Um, and if I had some money, I would have bet on Andy, simply because, not that I knew for sure that Andy would beat AJ. I had a feeling that he might. I thought it might be a decision. But anytime you have Vegas putting a guy as good as Andy at a 9-1 disadvantage, and if that guy ain't Muhammad Ali or Larry Holmes or George Foreman or somebody like that, you get my drift. I'm taking that. I'm taking those odds anytime and betting on Andy. Um, I like AJ, and I thought that he would pull it out, but I still thought that Andy had an excellent chance of upsetting AJ, and he did. I didn't think he would beat AJ up like he did, and AJ did seem not like himself when he entered the ring. But that's maybe why I felt in the pit of my gut that AJ could lose, because if he's not 100% in there against Andy, and that's any fighter today, even Deontay Wilder, if you're not 100% going in there against Andy, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna win that fight. You have to go in there and be in tip-top condition to beat a fighter like Andy Ruiz. Though, say, Andy, God, I'm a fan of yours and have been for a long time. But man, please try to get in better shape. I mean, he gets in there and he has tits, for God's sake. And I noticed that about Andy a long time ago, and I was shocked that he could fight up to the level that he can. He's a killer. But I don't know. I guess you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Which I never did. At first, when I saw Andy about some years ago, I judged him. I saw this guy would get his ass kicked. There's another big black muscular guy, and I guess I was biased for the big black muscular guy because I'm a big black muscular guy. But Andy beat the shit out this guy. It was a tough competition. Andy was taking shots. I'm talking about when I first seen him. I think it was some kind of heavyweight competition, some kind of heavyweight box offs or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, all the time I see Andy, he's beating some giant guy, some 6'8" guy, so he really is a good fighter, and I give him my respect. But I just wish he would come in better shape so I could root for him. It's hard for me to root for a guy that's not in shape. And that comes in with fat hanging and all this kind of, even though he doesn't have like a big belly, hanging belly. But it's a lot of these big belly guys now. Adam, what is his name? Kawanaki. And knock your dick in the dirt. If you come in there half stepping, you're gonna get your ass whooped. And these guys can fight all night, all day. I've never seen guys with such weight problems that can fight all day, not get tired. At least I haven't seen. Well, I think maybe it's because these guys are bigger now, and the bigger you get, the harder it is to keep your weight down. I know that. I'm 6'5", and one time I was 300 pounds, but it was mostly muscle because I had went over to powerlifting. But my true weight should be 240, 250. What other fights came out that I missed? I know it's another one. Oh yeah, the Plant guy. He's good. This guy is good. People say he fights like a brother, like a black dude. Maybe in the modern, in today's world, he does. But if you go way back to the times of Gentleman Jim Corbett, He was the first guy that I seen that fought in a semblance of that. Of course, Jim Corbett's style wasn't as developed as a Plant or other guys who used um, that style. It wasn't as developed as Gene Tooney, who also used that style, and who had developed it the best, and until Muhammad Ali came, until Ray Leonard, I mean Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Muhammad Ali came along. But there are a lot of. I think he's probably Irish descendant, and look at Tyson Fury, and Billy Joe Sanders. The Irish, they've always been a strain of Irish who fought like that. Now, today, in today's world, maybe he fight. You could say he's like a black man. I don't know his trainer, but perhaps he was boxing is African American and Hispanic culture now, and a lot of most Hispanics don't fight like that. I've only seen one, Salvador Sanchez, who fought similar, but African Americans a lot fight like that. But the first person in history, I think, don't get me wrong, because we don't know how to bare knuckle and before, guys who were really known. But I think the Irishman, Gentleman Jim, was the first guy to fight in that kind of style. But like I said, not as developed as it is today, and kind of a primitive type of way. But you have to get on YouTube and look at the fight. I think it's from 1899 of Gentleman Jim Corbett versus God, who was that guy? He fought, and the guy hit him in the solar plexus. Another well-known fighter. I can't think. A lot of times I'm on this machine. I can't think of the guy's name. Man, Irish name. He was a middleweight champion, and he had lost to. I think he lost to the guy who lost to Jack Johnson. Jim Jeffries. He lost to Jim Jeffries. I can't think of the guy's name. But if you look at that film, you'll see where Gentleman Jim was fighting a kind of street primitive type of moving around, jabbing, and that's how he beat John L. Sullivan, using that style. I think that must have been like the first time or that style was seen, because reporters at that time talked about it, and he used the primitive style like that. His primitive, the style, but back when he used it, the way he did it was not primitive, it was state of the art, because John L. Sullivan could do nothing with Corbett. Like, he had never seen anything like that, the way he was moving around and jabbing and such. So Plant took, what's the guy named Mike Lee or something, knocked him out, embarrassed him in 3 rounds. Well, that's what you're going to get when you get an accomplished boxer with a great amateur pedigree, or even a good amateur pedigree, against a stumble bum who got into boxing secondhand after he had a college football or high school football or something. He's going to get laid out and embarrassed like that. So, anyway, back to Ajagba. I always thought Ajagba was slow, but I thought that he hit hard. Now I think a fight between Ajagba and what's this other guy from the UK, this slow guy who just beat Brian Jennings. You know, the tall, light-skinned black guy. It's hard, but you know what I'm talking about. I think it would be a showdown between those two. Would be good. I think that's they're both the speed. Both slow, both hit hard. Well, I think Ajagba hits harder. Joe Joyce. That's his name. I think it jogged me his arm, Joe Joyce. But Joe Joyce, to me, at least, but you know what? George Foreman looked amateurish back in the 70s, but he was knocking guys the hell out. That's all he had. He didn't even have that good of a jab. All he had a decent jab. And he was throwing punches. I'm talking about George Foreman for all kinds of directions and angles. He almost threw punches like they say Deontay Wilder slapping, but windmilling. But he won the Olympics, and he had only had I think about 16, 17 fights, and he threw punches. He looked like an amateur, but he was so strong and hit so hard that it didn't matter. He could beat any man, almost any man, even then, because of that. Joe Joyce is hard, but he does not hit as hard as George Foreman. Nowhere near, but he does crack. So, though George Joyce looks amateurish, if he had the punching power of George Foreman, he could possibly be heavyweight champion of the world. George Foreman's style got a little bit better in his second rendition in the 80s and 90s. George Foreman, his jab got much better, and he was a much better boxer. But Joe Joyce, and the reason I said that is because Joe Joyce looked so sloppy. But I have to give him a shot because Foreman looked the same way, and he became champion twice. But that's not going to happen for Joe Joyce. I don't see that happening for him. And I would like to see him and Ife Ajagba go at it. Well, folks, I've been talking for a long time, but I figured that I'd put in some time today on the video because I haven't been on for a while. I'll put another one on probably later on today, perhaps if I have time. And I get out of this dialysis. So peace, y'all, and please subscribe. And if you like, hit the like button. I'll hit the like button if you don't like. Peace.